Hi, and welcome to the 10 square metre workshop. It's not unusual for people to use jigs so that they can use routers with a track saw track. These allow you to perform many tasks. However, they're usually with a full-size router, the 2.2 kilowatt sort. What happens if you have a smaller router, like this DeWalt trim? Wouldn't you like to use that with your DeWalt track? Well, now you can. Coming up after this. For many tasks, a trim router is all you need. If you also have DeWalt track saw track, your route is clear. You only need a few parts to make this jig. The first is this 100mm length of 2" by 3/16 alloy. Yes, I know they're still using imperial for these things. There are two ways of making the second part. You can either 3D print it, easy, just download the files from my Thingiverse site, or you can hand manufacture it. Here's the 3D printed version, with a few rags cleaned off. If you don't want to use 3D printing, you can manufacture it. Probably the best material to use is this. It's synthetic decking. If you haven't got any, little tip, manufacturers will often send you free samples, more than big enough. So the first step is to machine this piece of alloy. I'll include a drawing later in this video. The router has this slot in the base, ideal for mounting a jig. The first step is to trim the plate so it fits into the slot on the router. The next step is to relieve the plate so that the base plate still fits. I did this on a mill, but you can do it by hand. It's only 1mm and it's not critical. Alternatively, if you want to skip this step, use slightly thinner plate. The mounting holes are then measured, centre popped and drilled. Despite being an American company, all the fittings are metric, so this is a 4mm clearance hole. Here it is mounted on the frame using two 4mm bolts, for which there is already clearance in the base plate. Cut to size, it's surfaced and then trenched using a router to provide this. I then squared off the slot using a chisel. Here you can see the block sliding smoothly on the track, and it's really quite a good fit. I will continue with fitting the manufactured part, as that requires more steps. Next, drill tapping holes 3.3mm through both parts. Then drill 4mm clearance holes through the block. Then countersink the top for whatever type bolt you're using. Tap these two holes 4mm and assemble the two parts together. We can now test it out. Here it is attached to the router, and here it is on the rail, sliding easily along. Because the guide is in the middle, the distance to the router is less than in many makes. This makes it more stable. If you're using the printed base, the hole's already there, it just needs assembling. There's also a handle for it in appropriate colours. Here it is mounted on the router. Smooth operation and no detectable rock. There's really nothing to choose between the two sorts of base, a matter of preference. Time to give it a test run with a genuine first cut. Looks nice and clean. It's important at this point to measure what the offset is from the track saw, and for me it's exactly 52 millimeters. Add half the diameter of the bit you used, that's another 4 mil in this case, making 56 millimeters. Write that on a small label and stick that on the jig so there's never any doubt. The cut is very straight and the gap is identical at both ends to as accurate as I can measure. This is an accurate jig that is easy to make. I really recommend it. Plans as promised. Use screen capture. Well, that's all for this time. I hope you found it interesting and perhaps useful. Let me know in the comments below. Bye for now.